I hope you're well. Today I'm doing a video that I've never done before on this channel, and I'm not sure that there are many out there like this. It's all about self-defense in a wheelchair, keeping safe when you've got a disability and travelling alone at night. Northern Hemisphere is coming into winter, and quite a lot of us have put our clocks back, which can only mean one thing: dark, long evenings. And that can also mean travelling alone in the dark.
On your own.
And I don't know about you, but I get a little scared when I'm travelling alone on my own. I feel very vulnerable, and I think also sometimes people can see us as a good target because we have an impairment or a disability. But hopefully in this video I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to keep safe. I'm going to also be giving you some self-defense ideas as well in a wheelchair, so that's going to be interesting. Stick around for that later on. Of course, share this video with anybody out there who you think may like it or need it or whatever, really. Just a small sort of like side note, I am going to be talking about a little bit of violence, and some things may not be appropriate for maybe younger little people who might be sort of half listening around. You may want to watch this on your own later. However, if you think this sounds quite intriguing, thumbs up and let's carry on, and I'll give you a few tips and ideas along the way. So, tip number one. Some of these things may seem a little obvious to begin with, but obviously tell someone where you're going, when you're going to be there, when you're leaving, and when you're going to be arriving. I have girly nights with my sister quite a lot, and always text my husband and say I'm leaving in 5, so he can expect me when I'm home. And then I text my sister and let her know that I have arrived safely. I always feel a lot more secure when I know that someone's going to be expecting me, or they want to know that I have arrived somewhere. Another thing is, if you are rolling or walking back to your car or walking to your house on your own in the dark, make sure that you are really confident, you're alert, you're looking around. Don't be distracted with headphones in, don't be looking down at your phone. That is such a big distraction, and something that everybody always recommends that you don't do is look at your phone. Have it to hand. I always have my phone and my keys to hand, so that if I need my phone, I've got it, or when I get to my car I can open my car, or I can confidently open up the house. Another thing is, when I do unlock my car has got this option where you press it once, it just opens the driver's side. You press it twice and it opens up the whole car. I find a lot safer knowing that all of the other doors are locked while I'm getting myself into the driver's seat, so that no one can sort of like slip in the back and attack you from behind, or just jump into the passenger seat. I always drive with my doors locked. In fact, my car actually locks automatically when I go over a certain speed, like 15 miles an hour or something, and I always feel a lot safer. I always put my handbag in the footwell of the car or on the back seat where no one can see it, because that's another thing that people could always smash your window to get your handbag. So always keep your valuables concealed. When I am coming back to the home and I know that I'm going to be the only one and I am entering an empty house, I always leave a light on if I know I'm coming back when it's going to be dark. That makes me feel a lot more secure. Now, another little tip for you is I always flash my car lights at the house. So if someone is watching from the bushes or something, they think, okay, so she's flashing her lights to alert someone that's inside the house. Another thing that I do is, as I am coming up to the house, I'll wave at the window. I know, I sound like an absolute nutcase, but again, if someone is watching from a bush, because everyone watches from a bush, don't they? They'll think that there's someone in the house and they are less likely to attack you. And then I've got my keys to hand and I open them up really confidently, quickly get in the house and shut the door, and I've made it. Another thing that I always do is I always make sure that my hair is concealed. Now, studies have shown that attackers always look for hair if they're going to be attacking a woman, because it's something that is easy to grab hold of, and it's sort of like a magnet for them just to grab you. So I always tuck my hair into my jacket. Sometimes I'll put my hair up, or I will put a hood up. If you are putting a hood up though, do make sure that your vision is completely open, Sometimes hoods can conceal your vision, and also they can conceal sound as well. So make sure that you can hear and see as well as you possibly can if you do put a hood up. This is a really obvious one, but try and keep to well lit areas, busy areas. Don't take the dark, dodgy alleyway. Even if it is shorter and it's peeing down with rain, it's not worth it. I'd rather get wet and go the busy way that's well lit rather than a dodgy alley. That is a very simple one, but you know, it's the safest one. Now, a lot of people say carry a personal alarm or pepper spray and things like that. If someone was going to attack me, I would shout fire. Now, studies have shown that people respond more to someone who is shouting fire than if they're shouting help, they're attacking me, or just screaming. I apologise for the technical faults in this video. So let's just think about it for a second. If you were out and about and you were to hear someone shouting help, you might not necessarily feel the need to go and check and see what it's all about, because it doesn't actually put you in any personal danger. You may also feel that maybe someone else will go and have a look anyway. That's actually called the bystander effect. However, if you were to hear someone shouting fire, that then puts you at personal danger as well, and you're more likely to go and suss out what it's all about, because the fire may spread and it may harm you as well. So this is why it's a good idea to shout fire rather than help if you are in any personal danger. I have not been sexually attacked. This last one is actually quite a nitty-gritty one, and it's about being sexually attacked. So if you don't want to hear anymore, then fast forward and I'll leave the timestamp here. However, one night when I was out, I got segregated from my friends, and I got chatting to a really friendly bouncer, and I said to him, you know, I was really nervous about going back to my car on my own, and I hadn't been drinking, and he said, I'll walk you back to your car. And before he walked me back to my car, we were talking about sort of self-defense and what you would do, you know, if you were to be attacked or sexually attacked. And a tip that he had given me was, if a guy was coming to sexually attack you, talk about how you've just got your period, you have just come on, it's really heavy, you're bleeding like crazy. Make it really gross and really disgusting. Men, on the whole, tend to be quite repulsed by periods and bleeding and that kind of stuff. So really go into graphic detail about it if you can. You don't know what would happen in that circumstance. But as this has stayed with me for so many years, this kind of tip that I've had in the back of my mind, I just thought maybe I should share it with you. It's always something that I've always thought, you know, what would I do in that situation? And that is something that I've got in the back of my mind that I can bring forward. You would try anything in that situation to prevent it from happening. So yeah, obviously sexual harassment, sexual attacks are nothing to be taken lightly. And that's just something that I felt like I really wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so I have just shared with you a few tips and ideas on keeping safe when you're traveling alone at night in the dark. And now I'm going to move over to a little bit of self-defense when you're in a wheelchair. And as I think I have said previously, I can't remember, I'm not a sensei or a martial artist. This is just what I would do. If you've got any great tips, then leave them down below, and obviously I can't accept any responsibility for what you do after this video. And these things should really only be used in self-defense. The first thing that I often think is, what would I do if someone just got a hold of my wheelchair and just took off with me? Like, what would you do? The first thing is, obviously you would want to put your brakes on, but you and I know that it's really tough to do that because the wheels will be going fast and you can't put the brakes on while the wheels are going. Well, I know I can't. I just feel like my fingers are gonna get cut off, and I think we've all experienced that at some point. So what you want to do is you want to stop the wheelchair. So I think what I would do is throw my bag on the floor, or try and throw something in front of me to stop the wheelchair going. Then I would just try and whack my brakes on. Or another thing that you could try and do is try and put something in the spokes to try and stop it from moving. I don't know what, maybe you've got a handy stick in your bag. But you know, we're talking about life and death here, and I'm sure like adrenaline and instincts would kick in. But these are just the things that I have thought about. I don't know if I could chuck my bag in the spokes, my phone, my wallet, I mean anything in the spokes, or chuck anything in front of me, if I could try and take off my jacket or something, throw it in front of me to stop the wheelchair. Then what I would do is I would try and get hold of my wheelchair and just spin round as quickly as I could on a 360. My foot plates are lethal, they're so sharp for some reason. And I would try and whack the attacker in the ankles with the foot plate. You are at a good height for attackers. You're in the groin area. So obviously you want to go for the groin, you want to hit that as hard as you possibly can. Also the kneecaps. The kneecaps are extremely sensitive to people who don't have spinal cord injuries. Just saying. I just snorted. So whack their kneecaps as hard as you can. Then they will lean forward, then you can grab their neck and, you know. Another thing to think about is quite a lot of wheelchair users are extremely strength in our upper body, and I think a lot of people do look at people in wheelchairs and think, oh, vulnerability. Not necessarily always the case, especially after you've watched this video. You know, play your strength to your strengths. Another thing, roll out of the wheelchair, roll onto your front so that you are protected, or you can roll onto your back, and then you are able to try and attack them as best you can. That's kind of really all I've got to say about that, but hopefully some of these tips will have helped you. If you've got any self-defense ideas, or indeed you do any martial arts and you're a wheelchair user or have a disability, I would love to know. I am actually in the process of trying to see if I can find out if I can do a martial arts sort of video. I have got a few contacts. So if that's something that you would like to see, then please give this a thumbs up so I can show it to the people involved and we can try and work something out. I know that I would love it. I'd love to get involved in some martial arts. Don't be scared to try and enroll in some self-defense classes and try and do a little bit of boxing and things like that. As I said, I know this isn't a topic that I would normally cover, but I hope that you have found it interesting. Maybe you've picked up some tips. As always, please feel free to share. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one.